I don't build how I operate in the marriage based on the chances or the probability of divorce. Basically, it asks me to front load the cause of the divorce so it can shape my behavior and my interaction with my wife in the household. It's not how I write. I actually front load my faith and what I believe in the word. And then I dictate my choices of how I operate with my wife on that, not based on the chances of if it failing. So you get what I'm saying?
I
So
love
So the
actually,
that.
word told
you
you not to
I guess I gotta
cook.
record that so next time they bring facts to me, because that's how I be feeling when y'all bring facts to me too. I ain't gonna lie. When y'all bring numbers and shit to me, I be feeling exactly like that, but I don't know how to say it like that. But what he just said, that's
gotta
how I
go to
feel when
college,
y'all
probably.
bring bullshit numbers to me too. That's how I feel.
There's no
Oh,
bullshit. Over 70% of women are initiating divorce, but we're not talking about why they're initiating.
We do. We know exactly why they're
I've
initiating.
looked into it, and it really is a big part of it is women feel
because you don't want to wash the
overworked
dishes.
and underappreciated in the home. A lot of married women feel like married single moms, to be
That is
honest.
So
inherently
you
false.
telling me you gonna divorce your husband and then
I
go to
didn't tell you
another
that.
man
I'm
and go
telling you what the
wash his
data
dishes and
says.
wash his clothes?
I'm telling you what the data says. Now, if you care about it or not, that's up to you. You
No, I
know?
Here's the
actually care
data.
about it.
Okay.
Here's the data.
We can't see that, sir.
Cause if what you're saying is true, DJ, that means all of the content I've been making is pointless because
I
I
could have
thought
told you
y'all was.
that.
Wait, what does that mean, Queenie?
I
That
could
what
have
does that
told you
mean?
Basically,
that.
basically,
I got
the household
okay,
duties.
okay,
The
I'm just
okay.
household
playing,
duties.
darling.
No,
Make your
Die.
content, bro.
Basically, the
I
household
deserve it.
duties are split based on how many hours somebody has to work outside the house. But
Okay,
for the
that's
most
probably
part,
true for
both
marriages,
family.
but not the 70% of people who got divorced. What does this have to do with those divorce
Well,
numbers?
I would argue that one, we do know why people get divorced.
Because she
A
didn't
lot
say
of
most people in
I'm
marriage do
speaking
it.
well,
to
She
well
the
no,
said
women that
those
initiate
divorced
divorce,
people.
not
Yeah,
all
not
I
all
know.
people in
divorce.
I'm speaking to
marriage.
the women that
Just the
initiate
marriages
divorce,
that
and
fail.
they tell us the reason why they get a divorce, and it's not because they feel overworked or underappreciated in their household. There's a
How do you
number
know
of
those
reasons.
women
No,
took
it
these? How do
that's
you
one
know
of the
those women took
reasons.
this survey? There's no guarantee that those women that she's
So
talking
there's
about
no.
took the
I
survey
can
that you're
I'll
said.
I'll
They
show
don't
y'all the
contribute to those
study. I'll show
numbers.
y'all
Those
the
are two
study.
different
So
There
Dad,
statistics.
are
so
multiple
then
studies. Wait, there are
Then
multiple
we could
studies
throw
that
out every study if that's the case. If you want to throw
no,
out this
listen.
study regarding family,
There
regarding
are
stats
so
multiple
go ahead
by
and
Pew
studies.
begin.
Research,
There are multiple studies that
Don't
are
do
speaking
you
to the
understand how?
idea. There are multiple studies that are speaking to the idea that women feel overworked because they feel like they never can clock out. If you go to your 9 to 5, you clock in at 9, you clock out at 5. When does she get to clock out?
you do know most people feel overworked
No,
because
and just
everybody has to feel like.
answer my question really quickly. When does a housewife get to clock out?
It takes 2 hours to cook on average.
When does a housewife get to clock out?
In the middle of the day when the kids are at school.
When she go to sleep.
Wrong. She
When
never
she,
gets to clock out. Her job
yes,
When
is
she
she go to
does.
24/7.
sleep.
What?
No, she does
What are you
not.
talking
If
about?
she notice if she goes to sleep and that child is crying because the child has a fever, the child is sick,
Y'all act
the
like men
child
don't exist in
she
these
is the
relationships.
one she is the
So
one that wakes
can I
up.
say something?
And she's the one that addresses it, and she's the one that takes the child to the doctor's appointment, and she's the one that does
Yeah.
all of that stuff, all of that extra domestic duties. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I agree with everybody. I agree with DJ and I agree with y'all. I don't there is no clocking out, but that's what I signed up for, being a wife and mom. And I'm okay with that responsibility because I know what it is and what comes for it and from it. Um, it is what it is. There is no clocking out. I grew up hearing my mom and dad say, I don't care if you're 70, 60 years old, you're going to still be my kid, my son or daughter, and I'm going to still parent you and I'm going to still try to guide you um, until I go into the grave. And so I see that for men and women. I don't think when you have a family unit and when you're a spouse and you have children, there's no such thing as clocking out. I've just accepted what it is and I'm okay with it. But DJ is right. Like if a child goes to sleep, my kids are waking up, one's potty trained, one may cry, like it's 24/7. When I'm at work, I'm thinking about home, I'm thinking about doctor's appointments, I'm thinking about dentist appointments, I'm thinking about my husband going to the doctor, I'm thinking about the house, I'm thinking about maintenance, I'm thinking about everything. like constantly. Then when I get home, thinking about what's for dinner, grocery store, I'm doing inventory in my head. So it's literally 24 hours around the clock of managing a household and everybody in it, as well as managing myself and making sure that my cup is full and my brain still has space to make sure that I'm functioning properly, as well as the house. And
How
I'm
do
not
that
a
work? What
housewife. I
contribute
also
to that?
work
Because I'm
too.
pretty sure that your husband does things to make you be full like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what
So
does that look
Most
like?
husbands do.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that
that's why I want
you
to
have
know
to,
how.
both people have to be functioning in full capacity to make it work. If not, then
Does
it's just not gonna
appreciation,
work. But
like
look, but see,
matters?
y'all said something about, I think Sweeney said out of the home. My husband works from home, but the thing that I do, I leave my job and I'm done. My husband, he's working constantly. Like it might be 9, 10 o'clock at night, and he's on the computer, like, pen and paper, doing whatever. Or he might be up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, work hasn't started, but his work is constant because of he's using his brain constantly and he's stressed constantly. So even though I'm leaving and he's at home, he's still working, or he may be out in the field on a business trip. His I cut that off and I focus on the family. I can leave my job and be done with it and put it down. I don't open a computer at home for work. But for him, it's vice versa. He's constantly working, constantly answering business calls, constantly. It doesn't stop for him. And so I realized that, and I can pick up and balance that out to take off. Oh yeah, you've been at home. I've been running around. But no, he's constantly stressing about the entire family as a whole, plus his job and his career. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As a woman that does both, I can say that definitively that working a job is so much easier than being a full-time housewife. My hat goes off to women that dedicate their lives and all of their time to interacting with children and hearing children's songs all day and rearing children and reeling them in and chasing after them and not having adult interaction and just being locked up in the house all the time and running errands. It's a little bit of a nightmare after a while. It starts to feel like Groundhog Day every day. Actually, the reprieve is going to work.
You know
If
what's
I'm being
hilarious?
honest.
It's both,
I'm
DJ.
just curious. I
I
just
agree
don't
with you
like
on
the cook.
both.
That's the part I don't like.
But also when you haven't, because I stayed home a year with the kids as well, and well, like 2 years with the kids as well, and so I feel like I see both sides of it. It can feel like Groundhog's Day, but also you're not pouring into the world; you're pouring into your home 24/7. So when you
Yeah, you're
both
right. It is
both,
a labor of
you know what I'm
love.
saying? Like you literally have
But
to
that doesn't make it
take
any less
yourself
intense,
out.
child. Because
Yeah,
after a
no,
You
while,
both
know
I'm
of
what's
like,
them,
turn
hilarious?
off the
both
cocoa
of them.
melon. I don't want to hear one more single.
You know what's hilarious?
Yeah,
Like
Being a
it's
household,
difficult. It's
being a
difficult.
housewife or being a house
both.
person is the hardest thing in the world until a man says, "Let me do it."
Huh?
Then all
What
of
you
a
mean?
sudden it's hell
Have
no.
y'all
I talked
ever
about
seen the
this yesterday,
videos?
What you
Sweeney.
mean?
I
So
Until a
love
wait,
man
Have
no,
it.
y'all
I
says,
love
ever
until
going
seen
we
the
church.
tell
Come
videos
y'all
on.
switch
of
I want to
roles,
see.
I've been
What you
through it.
mean?
I've been in it, Sweeney, and I loved it. For
What
personally,
you
I
mean?
loved it. I
but
love going to
Oh,
work.
normally in
I
these
love going to
conversations,
work. I
right?
love the fact when I came home that my baby was already cool. The food was already cooked. I like the fact that at
ain't that
nighttime, as a
nice?
newborn, that the baby, I didn't have to wake up and get the baby up and get her ready.
Mm.
I
Die,
I didn't
I
You
have to
get to
get
be
understand.
the
up.
I
home
understand.
I
parent,
love being
right?
Die,
around kids too, though.
die.
Y'all,
Don't get me
y'all
you
I
not
wrong.
y'all
mean?
not
Wait,
understand.
wait,
sounding
wait,
like
Parent.
nurturers. Y'all are not
Die.
sounding like
wait,
nurturers
Sweeney.
right
You
now. I
mean
don't
a
know.
woman? You mean a man not working at all and being a house
No, he
husband?
was still
He's
working
been the
towards
house
something,
just
but because I
because
was the parent
she
raising, I
said
would
a
rather him
housewife
been
is
at
the
home
hardest role. It's so intense, right? And I
until a
ask
man
women
has
this
to
all
do
the
it.
time. Then switch spots. You go to work full time and you let him do it. And
You
It
it's
know
depends
what?
always
on what
I'm
no
type
gonna
of
because a
send this
man ain't
commercial you
video.
watch.
I'm
supposed
gonna send
to.
this
It
video
just
to
depends on
And
what
JR.
type.